Pope Innocent X by Circle of Diego Velázquez, a painting of authority and realism. By Circle of Diego Velázquez, circa 1650. Pope Innocent X, housed at the West Building, main floor, Gallery 34 of the National Gallery of Art, Washington, D.C., depicts a striking portrait of Pope Innocent X, the head of the Catholic Church from 1644 to 1655. The painting, attributed to the Circle of Diego Velázquez, is a remarkable example of their emulation of Velázquez's dynamic and expressive style and his ability to portray the realism and psychology of his subjects. The painting shows Pope Innocent X, wearing a crimson-red cap and garment, looking at us from the corners of his eyes in this vertical portrait painting. He is brightly lit from behind us and the mahogany-brown background is deep in shadow. His shoulders angle to our right, and he turns his head slightly to look at us with brown, deep-set eyes under arched brows. His wispy, auburn-brown goatee is tinged in silvery grey. His nose is slightly bulbous, and his thin lips are tightly closed in a straight line. Wrinkles and jowls give his face a paunchy look. His tall, flat-topped, fez-shaped hat covers his hair. A white, nearly translucent collar curls up along his neck and flares out to points at his collar. Rose-pink highlights on his red cape suggest it is a shiny material, like silk, and it is fastened with several small, dark buttons down the front. The painting is a masterpiece of color harmony, as the Circle of Diego Velázquez concentrated the two major colors in two distinct areas, a warm red for the Pope's cap and garment, and a cool brown for the background. They then used the intensity of the white and pink for the Pope's collar and cape to unify the whole. The contrast between the warm and cool tones creates a visual and psychological effect, as the red cap and garment suggest the Pope's authority and power, while the brown background implies the Pope's humility and simplicity. The painting is also a demonstration of light and shadow, as the Circle of Diego Velázquez illuminates the subject with a natural and radiant light that highlights his features and creates a soft, hazy look. The light also reflects off the cap, the collar, the cape, and the eyes, adding sparkle and liveliness to the composition. The painting is seen as one of the Circle of Diego Velázquez's historical scenes, a term that refers to paintings of stories or events from ancient or modern history, usually featuring kings, queens, heroes, or generals. The Circle of Diego Velázquez was a group of painters who imitated the style of Diego Velázquez, the most celebrated painter in Spain in the 17th century. Velázquez was the court painter of King Philip IV of Spain, and he traveled to Italy twice, where he painted several portraits of Pope Innocent X. His most famous portrait of the Pope is housed in the Galleria Doria Pamphilj in Rome, and is considered one of the finest portraits ever created. The Circle of Diego Velázquez followed his example and painted their own versions of the Pope's portrait, using similar techniques and elements, but with less skill and originality. The painting may also have a symbolic meaning, as the portrait of Pope Innocent X is one of the most famous examples of the theme of authority and realism in art. Pope Innocent X was born Giovanni Battista Pamphilj, and he was a lawyer and a diplomat before becoming pope. He was known for his reforms and his opposition to the political and religious interference of France and Spain. He was also a patron of the arts and sciences, and he commissioned several works by famous artists such as John Lorenzo Bernini, Francesco Borromini, and Pietro da Cortona. The painting captures the Pope's character and personality, as he looks at us with a penetrating and skeptical gaze, revealing his intelligence, shrewdness, and aging. The painting also represents the realism and psychology of Velázquez's style, as he portrays the Pope with unflinching honesty, without idealizing or flattering his features,